This is Marta, and today I am doing something a little bit different. This is a vlog / discussion of a video game called Injustice: Gods Among Us. This is a DC video game product, which is basically, it's a fighting game mixed with a lot of story that plays on a what if scenario and kind of toys with parallel universes. Like if you've ever seen Rick and Morty, like where Rick and Morty go to parallel universes and see different versions of themselves, like that's the kind of parallel universe storyline that this video game uses. And in this case, if we get to the plot, this case, it starts with that the DC heroes, Wonder Woman and Batman, Aquaman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and Superman and Cyborg, and Raven, and Hawkgirl. There's a lot. They're basically going about their everyday life, and they find out that Joker has this plan that he's going to nuke Metropolis, and they rush to stop him. And they succeed in stopping him, but there's a parallel universe where they did not succeed in stopping him, and the Joker actually brainwashed Superman into not only nuking Metropolis, but seeing Lois as Doomsday, his arch nemesis, where he ended up killing Lois. And in this particular moment, she was also pregnant. So in the parallel universe, this breaks Superman and he becomes evil. And basically, when these two timelines collide, then Batman and the Joker and Wonder Woman and Green Arrow, they get transported into the evil universe, let's say. Yeah, and it's very story heavy. It's very short. Like if you don't lose any of the fights, if you do everything correctly, you can play it in 7 hours. So if this sounds like a video game that you would like, stop the video now, go play it, and then you can come back, because this is going to be a discussion vlog, so I'm going to be very, very spoilerific. Yeah, and if you're wondering about my little friend here, this is Wolfie. I bought him from the Natural History Museum of Sweden. He's going to be on my knee here as a little support. Yeah, so this is a very plot-heavy video game, which I like, but the problem is that it's still, at some points, the plot feels very rushed, you know? And because this is a fighting game, there were a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, but there were a lot of times where I felt that the two characters get mad at each other or don't bother to talk things out before they start punching each other, just so that the player will have something to do. Like, there's one instance where Green Arrow, I think, is like fighting someone because they think he's evil, but he's not, and they don't even talk about it, they just start punching. And there was like at the very end, when the two Batmans start punching each other, that was really jarring, because at this point, Superman is destroying an entire city. They're gonna bring out Doomsday. It's gonna be like chaos, and a lot of people are dying. And then these two Batmans start punching each other and wasting time, and it's really jarring. If you think of this video game from a story point of view, it's like, what the hell? And I think the good universe Batman even said that, oh well, we're wasting time. It's like, yes, you are. You are. Why were you punching each other? And then, of course, in other times, like when the Joker comes across Batman and has to fight Batman, or when Wonder Woman comes across evil Wonder Woman and has to battle evil Wonder Woman, then it made all sense. Then it was okay. But, I think this being a fighting game kind of was a little bit to its disadvantage, because while it is fun to do these punching things as a player, it doesn't really serve the story so well always. And yeah, I also, there were some of the chapters were shorter than others, and Batman gets 2 chapters, which I wasn't really a big fan of because there were some other characters that I thought I'm not as familiar with, because Batman is like, I don't really read comics. Just so you know, I don't really read comics. I am familiar with DC characters through cartoons and through movies and now through video games. I don't really read comics. I'm really sorry, but I just don't. And the thing with Batman is that there's so many movies of featuring Batman, and there's so many cartoons featuring Batman. So you're very well acquainted with him. But there was a lot of characters like Cyborg, who gets a chapter, and his chapter is really, really short. And I would have liked his chapter to be expanded instead of Batman getting 2, because I don't know anything about Cyborg. I know he's going to be in this new Justice League movie, so I would have kind of liked to have gotten to know him a little bit better before the movie comes out. And also, out of the playable characters in this video game, he's the only person of color. So it would have been kind of nice if he would have gotten a little bit more screen time while his chapter was like so short. And it kind of seemed a little bit, he's also kind of young, and he's kind of like, his sense of humor I thought was really interesting, because he is kind of funny, but he's like not snarky. He's just more like a young person reacting to weird things around him. So, and I kind of find that a little bit more interesting than Batman, who gets like 2 chapters. And there was also some characters like Raven. We get very little of her, and I know nothing about Raven. And they kind of explain like, oh, well, my father's going to come back. It's like, who is your dad? Why do you want him to come back? And how come you detest violence in the good universe, but you want your dad to come back in this one? And what's going on? Yeah, so maybe you could check TV tropes, DC characters, before you go into this video game. I maybe should have done that. Yeah, but to positives. Well, while I wasn't such a fan of everyone's chapter, then I really liked Flash's storyline in this video game, and I really like how he kind of realizes his errors, and he decides to help the good guys. And I kind of like it that, like, usually in redemption arcs, what happens is that people are very easily forgiven. Like, even if they did bad things, as long as they just became good, they don't have to face any kind of consequences for what they did. And that's not at all what happens with the Flash in the evil universe. Because he did help Superman for a really long time to enslave people and to kind of kill other superheroes that didn't do what Superman wanted. So he does kind of realize that he's done a mistake, and he helps the heroes, but even in the end he has to go to prison. And there's this and I really like that moment where the Flash he's stepping into the vehicle that's going to take him to prison, and Green Arrow kind of salutes him, and he kind of nods. And so he has to go to prison for a certain amount of time, because despite that he helped the heroes, he still committed crimes. And I like that the video game was honest like that. Like, well, redemption is not that easy. And frankly, I think more redemption arcs could kind of like use that kind of like that yeah, like sometimes even if you do the right thing in the end, you still have to face consequences for your actions in the past. Just saying I'm sorry is not really going to cut it. So I really like that. And Wonder Woman's chapter was great. I love the Wonder Woman movie. I've seen it twice. I saw it in the movie theaters twice, and I never see a movie twice in the movie theater, but this movie I went and I saw twice in the movie theaters. And Wonder Woman, even in this game, good Wonder Woman, because there's 2 Wonder Womans, but good Wonder Woman from the good universe. She is so well written. She's really headstrong. She's really compassionate, and she's able to talk about Wonder Woman's like ideology of like compassion and love, and trying to get men to to tame, well, not tame, but like, as she says it to the Amazons in this video game, to to make sure that men aren't like overruled by their negative traits and to kind of bring out the good in men. And the way she talks to the Amazons when she has beaten evil Wonder Woman, it's so good. And it's so, I think, like, it's able to take this really corny concept that was in the original comics that really is corny now and still, like, make it, like, believable, and you kind of really get what that is. Like basically about being, like, Wonder Woman is supposed to just inspire people to be more compassionate and more loving towards each other instead of giving in to their violent tendencies. But that being said, I'm gonna go with the popular opinion here and say I didn't like evil Wonder Woman's character at all. And with that I mean, like, I kind of felt like evil Cyborg and evil Superman, they were doing these horrible things in the world because they didn't want another. They never wanted that what would happen to Metropolis, they never wanted that to happen again. So it was basically a #never-again situation. And I think, like, it's a bit weird that evil Wonder Woman's characteristic is all like, oh, I just want a boy to like me. I just want Superman to like me. And she's just kind of like trying to, I mean, she says to evil Superman that I'm not trying to replace you, but I'm not trying to replace Lois, but she kind of is. And it's so poorly written because, like, when she talks to good Wonder Woman and she says that men's bad tendencies can't be tampered, they can just be crushed. I think, like, they could have used a balance that she could have been in love with evil Superman. But I think that instead of her, like, going along with evil Superman's plan because she wants to get into his pants, she should have been, like, saying that, oh, but you know, Superman, you have a point. Like, I've been trying for years and years to teach love and compassion to men, and they just become more and more violent. Like, you know, screw this. My mom was this wrong. Let's just, you know, let's just do with your plan, because at least, like, that would have been, like, a good characterization. And I just kind of always find it really lazy that I feel like almost every female, like Misa Amane and the evil queen in Once Upon a Time, it's always like, it always comes back to, like, to some boy. Like, oh, I didn't get the man that I loved, or I want to get this man that I love, and that's why I do evil things. And it's such a tired trope, in my opinion. It's like, you know, if men can be evil and do terrible things in media and have these kind of whole psychological and philosophical reasoning behind it, it's like, you can do that with female characters too. You can do that with female villains. Like Avatar: The Last Airbender did that really well with Azula. Like, they kind of explained, like, there it was all a psychological study. Like, she felt unappreciated by her mom, and she wanted to impress her dad, and of course the Fire Nation has this propaganda of being better than everyone else. Like, for instance, so this, like, that's as an example. Like, that's a really good way how to write a female villain. Not so much evil Wonder Woman and Injustice. So yeah, I would have worked on that a lot more. Which is funny because they write good Wonder Woman so well, so that's kind of funny. Oh, and as a final thing, before this vlog is over, when I went into this video game, I was really worried that it was going to be like a Batman fanboy video game, and it was all going to be about how Batman's better than Superman, and, you know, how it sometimes can get. But no, actually, this video game really understood Superman. Like, really got Superman's character, and you wouldn't think that because it's all about a parallel universe where where Superman becomes evil. But they have also good Superman, who comes in at the end to the evil parallel universe, and him and evil Superman fight at the very end, and they talk about. And good Superman says, we're not gods, we're here to help people, not to oppress them, we can't misuse our power. And that is, like, such good writing, but also, like, understands the core principle about Superman. That Superman It's more like a public service in a way. He uses his powers because he can do things that other people can't in order to help others, but he doesn't misuse his powers. And he usually doesn't kill. He does kill sometimes, but he tries not to kill because he doesn't want to be a god that people fear. And that's what he says in this movie. He says, "We are not gods. We don't decide who lives and dies." Because he knows that he's at an unfair advantage. And it's so few medias that I've seen, like Man of Steel and that kind of stuff, they don't really get this part of the character. Like, even if, as another example, like I know a lot of comic fans don't like this TV show, but Lois and Clark, I'm kind of rewatching it now, and they have episodes where they kind of also deal with that Superman tries to be more of a public service, and he tries not to hurt people, and he doesn't really kill people because of this, because he doesn't want them to fear him as a god. And because that's the point that Lex Luthor keeps saying, like, oh, we can't trust him. He's like he's a god figure, and gods they're easily corrupted. So, yeah, so that was one thing that I was pleasantly surprised about, was Injustice. It really gets Superman's character. But, yeah, I guess that's all. So comment down below if you want more vlogs, if you thought that this was a good formula, or if you didn't like this formula, that's okay too. Oh, and like I said, I love the Wonder Woman movie. I'm sorry, I'm such a fangirl, but after I saw the movie, I actually ended up buying this coffee table. I don't know if you guys can see it, but hopefully you can. Yeah, it's a coffee table mug with Wonder Woman's logo. Yeah. Actually, have any of you seen the original TV series? Because I actually like that kind of campiness, but I'm not so sure if I want to watch the original Wonder Woman TV series. But if with Linda Carter, but if any of you have actually seen it and if it's good, then comment down below, because then I'll know if I should give it a shot or not. But anyway, yeah, so that was all from me today, and from me and Wolfie, and we will see you guys later.